Did the Chicago Bulls get the steal of the NBA draft by drafting Ayo Dosunmu 38th overall? Let's talk about it, starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. We don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure that you hit that bell. Also, make sure to cop some of the Windy City Breeze merch. We got our Bulls merch out right now. We've got Bears merch coming probably opening day of preseason, so be on the lookout for that. And we've got some Petty Casanova merch on the way. We got a ton of stuff coming your way, so be on the lookout for that. Check the link in the description below. Now, did the Chicago Bulls get the steal of the draft in Ayo Dosunmu? To answer the question, I think you've got to look at a few different things. Now, Dosunmu, of course, a Chicago native, of course, a star at Illinois. Those are the two things that you look at and you say, yo, this is a storybook kind of story, right? And so it makes sense that the Bulls go get him. Like Ayo said, it's destiny that he came to the Chicago Bulls, right? But when you look at it deeper, to me, I'm looking at a guy who not only was a star at Illinois, but was the glue of that team, was the reason that that team was able to do what it did. When Ayo struggled, Illinois struggled. When Ayo wasn't playing well, Illinois wasn't playing well. When Ayo played great, Illinois was a national championship contender, one of the #1 teams going into that tournament. And so it's tough because they did lose out, and I think that them losing might have changed teams' perception of him, but that, to me, that's the dumbest thing in the world, because it's like, listen, if it maybe I mean, I guess you could say some teams maybe aren't looking for a point guard in certain situations, but I mean, when you look at the guards that went ahead of him, you start to see, like, yeah, he could have filled that same kind of position. I mean, Ayo, an excellent defender, 200 pounds, not small, 6'5" in build, averaged 20 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, and 5 assists last year at Illinois. So a guy that looks to pass the ball, a guy that's looking to get his teammates involved, a guy that, I mean, in honesty, a guy that at some points it seemed like Brad Underwood had to go tell him, hey, listen, I need you to score. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need you to go get a bucket because we need the points here. And so a guy that was looking to be pass first, a guy that was looking to be active on the defensive end, a guard who relishes being active on both ends. I mean, to me, for him to fall to 38, you heard AK, he didn't expect him to be there. And so the question of, do we think that he is the steal of the draft? I think that there's a excellent selling point for that, especially when it comes to him being on the Chicago Bulls, because for the steal of the draft, for you to be the steal of the draft, not only do you have to be talented, but you have to fit a team's need. And this is absolutely something the Chicago Bulls need moving forward. Now, before I continue with the video, I want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that Ayo Dosunmu could be the steal of the draft for the Chicago Bulls? Let me know in the comments below. Now, here's the other thing for me when it comes to Ayo. Ayo coming in does something for the Bulls that it might not do for a lot of those other teams that did take point guard in that position. And so you have to take that into account as well, because when you're talking steal, you want to talk, okay, does steal mean a great fit, or does it mean that great talent that also fits with what the Chicago Bulls are trying to do? When I look at Ayo, the draft of Ayo literally just changed the Chicago Bulls free agency entirely. Not to say that you don't need to go out and get a veteran point guard that fits the timeline, not to say that you don't need to go out and find that guard that can win now for you. But what it does is, now going into free agency, you don't have to offer those guys those bigger long year contracts, 4 or 5 year contracts. And I do got a video coming out later today on Dennis Schroeder. I actually recorded it before all the baseball news broke yesterday, so get in tune with that. It still applies, so it'll still be a good video to watch. But to me, like, when you're looking at the fact that you've got Ayo in here, listen, you're going to have a guard who, yes, you want him to learn under another veteran guard. I would love to see Ayo learning under Alonzo Ball, or learning under behind a Dennis Schroeder even. I don't think they play the same, but I would really Alonzo Ball, something like that. But what this does now is you can bring in a one-year guy. You can bring in a Mike Conley for a little bit of money. You can bring in I know he's not leaving, but a Chris Paul type guy for a little bit of money, because you want him to learn under somebody who is absolutely great. You want him to learn under somebody who's already been dominant at the position, and then, hey, let's put this kid out there next season as the starting point guard to see what he's got. Let's give him the keys to the team to see what he's got. That's how a lot of this stuff works. Listen, look what Chris Paul did for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Dennis Schroeder, and campaign. You know what I'm saying? Like okay, the teams saw them work with him and were like, okay, well, we know we've got our point guard position locked up. Now, is that going to be yet to be seen for Phoenix? I think that it's going to be a little different for campaign without Chris Paul there, but I wish him nothing but the best. But we see what it did with Shai when Chris Paul left. Shai was already ready to go. Hey, let's go. Let's get this done. And I think that this is Ayo is a very Billy Donovan type pick. So to me, AK being able to secure Ayo at the point guard position, being able to get a guy who, like I said, is a two-way player, is somebody who can score, is somebody who defends well, you're able to put him out there next season in big situations and say, hey, let's go to war with this, along with getting a starting point guard so that Ayo can sit behind that guy and learn. And listen, say you do want Alonzo Ball. Say Alonzo Ball wants to hit free agency again. Shorter term contracts are what the players are looking for a lot of times, because they want to hit free agency again. They want to be able to cash in when the market is going higher. So say you come to Lonzo and say, listen, we've got 90 million over 3 for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's a lot, but it's a 3-year deal. Okay, that's a lot for 3 years, but it's a 3-year deal. Now you've got your next guy up already ready to go. And even in that situation, if something does come up where Ayo all of a sudden is the better player, you get rid of Lonzo. Or get rid of whoever that guy is. Like, this is a move that has allowed the Bulls so much flexibility in free agency to go out and do what they need to do, that I really like. 90 over 3. That was kind of a steep price for Alonzo Ball. I'm not gonna lie to you. But 80 over 3. Let's say 80 over 3. You know what I'm saying? 80 over 3. But you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like, this is a move that gives the Bulls so much flexibility, and on top of that, he's a guy who a 3 years at college guy. We've seen those guys that have spent more time in college, and you say, okay, well, he's a little bit older, you're not going to get as much time out of him. Yeah, that's true, but guess what? This kid comes to the NBA ready to contribute right now. Ayo's going to be a contributor next season. It's not like he's going to come into the league and not understand kind of how the game works. He's going to still have to have that learning curve of what happens at the NBA level. But Ayo comes into the game understanding what it's like to be in a structure for a long period of time. He comes into the game what it's like to have the same teammates for a long period of time, to be able to go out there and already have that structure underneath you, to be able to go out there and already have that time where you've actually been able to sit for 3 years and just learn the game while still playing the game that you love. That's such a difference maker. Think about how many Chicago Bulls have been drafted that way, and they've just come into the league on a tear. Not maybe they weren't, you know what I'm saying, maybe they weren't the best of the best in the league, but they were able to contribute their rookie year. They were able to contribute their sophomore year even more. And I think that that's something that you have to look at when you're talking about Ayo Dosunmu, that, listen, this is not a kid that's going to be just sitting on the bench doing nothing next season. This is a kid that's going to come into the game and be a part of the NBA rotation, I believe, especially with Billy Donovan. This is a super Billy Donovan kind of pick. Especially with Billy Donovan, that he's going to be able to come in right away and give you backup point guard minutes off of the bench. And what does that do? What does that help the Bulls with by even going to get him at that point? Listen, you can move Kobe White to the 2 and let him be the backup 2 guard, which he's needed to be anyway. And a bench of Ayo Dosunmu and Kobe White, somebody that's already won U.S. gold at the under-18 Olympics. Come on now. These guys already have a rapport as well. Like, I love to see this plan come together. I really love this pick. And so for me to say that Ayo Dosunmu is the steal of the draft is not far-fetched. I think that it's actually spot on, because I think that it fits so much with not only what the Chicago Bulls want to do, but just the talent that you're going to get out of Ayo. Does that mean that he's going to be the best player out of this draft? I don't know about that yet. Cade's pretty flipping good. Jalen Suggs pretty good. But when I'm looking at Ayo, I just see a guy who has not only improved his game every season, but I think will continue to do that and eventually could be the Bulls' long-term answer at the point guard position. That's how high I am on Ayo Dosunmu in the second round. But I want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that the Chicago Bulls got the steal of the draft by taking Ayo Dosunmu 38th overall? I'll be down in the comments talking with you as well. As always, it is your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bulls content. Click the links here or check the links in the description below. Hey, yo, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago, and cop some merch. Peace.